Alrighty, let's talk about e-commerce. And with e-commerce, there's one in particular. In fact, you can just type in e-commerce, but it's going to be called WooCommerce. So WooCommerce, install now. All right, now this is going to be part of it. There are going to be other plugins that go along with WooCommerce, at least one more for a payment gateway, but I will explain some of that. Go ahead and click on Activate. And all right, so if you're doing e-commerce, go ahead and install this, and then it may want you to update your WooCommerce database. Sure, go ahead and click that. Why not? Kicks you into this spot. Notice what's going on the left. This is where I want you to look at, is on the left, there's all of a sudden a whole bunch more stuff. So click on the WooCommerce link at the top. And in effect, just by installing that one plugin, you just added like more functionality than WordPress even had like out of the box before. Like there's so much stuff in here, but I'm going to show you specifically how we can start setting things up. So notice that not only do you have a WooCommerce area now that has this drop down with home, orders, customers, coupons, reports, settings, status, extensions, but you also have a new content type called products underneath that. You also have analytics and marketing. And I'm just kind of mentioning the things over there on the left that it just all of a sudden opens up all this stuff. Okay, like for example, if you clicked on products, this is a content type, just like pages. So you could start selling something awesome. Go ahead and click and create, update the database again. I don't know. Okay, thanks, great. Sometimes it just makes you do little things like that. You can click on create product, and if you wanted, you could dive right into like adding stuff, and you can notice that you could go through the next, but if you just scroll down for now, but besides just the product name, now all of a sudden you've got like inventory, shipping, link products, what's your regular price, like there's all these fields to fill out information about a product, right? So it's just a new content type that works pretty much like a poster page in the sense that you can put it all over the place in different areas in WordPress, but this is where you'll fill out the information. Now, before you really fill out any products, I mean, you're welcome to start adding stuff in there. You can add images in there for your products, and there's other plugins to like make your product listing, have all kinds of different things. But where you'll really want to start is you'll want to start with this with the settings in WooCommerce. So click on the WooCommerce link again over there on the left, and then click on settings. This is where you could start filling out your information, right? So ultimately, like when you have an online store, you need to have a location for it. So this would be your address and your country you're selling in, and there's all these rules that will start to apply as far as like, you know, where tax is being applied and what state and all kinds of different things. So you'll start with, scroll back up to the tabs, because I want to show you as you go through all of these, this is the main setup. And when you're creating an e-commerce site, it's these settings tabs really where you should start out. Before you start creating products, adding stuff to the front of the site, we want to make sure that you can set it up so you can actually collect money from people and take credit card payments and have it go into your bank account, right? That's the exciting part. So you'll fill out your basic information, scroll down a little bit, let's just see what's there. So basic shipping locations, whether you want to enable taxes, enable coupons, sure, whatever. Oh, different currency options. So probably instead of the pound sterling, you probably choose the dollar, whatever that may be. So you can spend time going through that and just doing what should seem self-explanatory for at least this tab, right? So then go back up to the top. And the next one over is products. Take a look at that. So this is more of, you know, your individual products that you can set up. This is more of how your products behave. This is like settings for the product. So just like we had to change which page is our blog page, when you add e-commerce, all of a sudden you have what's called the shop page as a page that's going to show all of your products. So right now, if you were to go to your front end site, don't do it, but if you were to go to your domain name /shop, once you set up WooCommerce, then it's going to have a shop page that would show you all of your products on there. So yeah, weight units. Okay, you can move on to the next tab across. It's kind of some basic product settings, some shipping settings, which we can talk about that a little later. Not going to worry about that for now. Depends if you're actually shipping something. If you're just selling your products and services, then you won't even have to deal with that. So it can go back up. But these are all things that become a thing when you are working with e-commerce. Payments, this is the big one. Okay, this is how do I get my money? How do I actually transfer money? And how do I make sure that transferring money is safe for my users? You need to choose which type of payment system you want to use. So we're not going to do direct bank transfer, check payments, or cash on delivery. Those are things that you don't want to let people mail you a check. I mean, you could, but that's not typically how e-commerce is done. The direct bank transfer, you'd have to have a lot of stuff already set up with your bank. What comes out of the box is PayPal, all right, that you could use standard PayPal. And don't turn it on yet. We won't worry about the payment setup yet. I'm just kind of pointing this out, that you could just set up a PayPal account for yourself, and then you can have all your users pay using PayPal, which usually means they may leave the site, pay for it, and then it will kick you back to the site, or there's ways to kind of integrate it within the site. There's other payment gateways besides PayPal, like Stripe. Could you go to stripe.com, just S-T-R-I-P-E? This is another really popular free payment gateway. And this is what the last time I did an e-commerce site I used. And you can go in and set up a free account, and they will make it relatively easy for you to attach this to your bank account. And this is what's called a merchant account. And that's what you need to do e-commerce, is whether it's through PayPal. PayPal will have a merchant account set up for you through it, or through Stripe, or there's authorized.net. There's just like as many hosting companies, there's dozens and dozens of different payment systems out there, Google Pay, Apple Pay, or all kinds of different things. But the easiest way is to either use PayPal or Stripe. You can just attach it to a private personal checking account. And once it's all set up, then that's kind of the layer that lets people actually pass money from their account into yours. So you'll have to set up either a PayPal account or a Stripe account. I would definitely recommend one of those two. So then accounts and privacy, email, let's see, accounts and privacy, great. This is just settings for your store and how it works. You can, for the most part, just leave things default, but there are options there that you may want to put your eyes on, just kind of see what's there. Emails, this is where you can set up like what emails users actually see, right? So when orders are created and canceled and all of this stuff, these are email templates that you could use to, you can just leave the defaults, which you probably will, but you could edit them and change what users are actually being sent and what it says to them when they go through these different areas of the process. So as you can already see, there's a ton here just by adding this one WooCommerce thing. It added and like doubled what you have in your main nav bar over there. There's so much functionality. And a lot of plugins are like that. There's a lot of very, very powerful, complicated WordPress plugins. And that's why it's really important just to kind of take them one at a time. The worst thing in the world you could do is add like 20 plugins at once, and then all of a sudden just have a sea of chaos in your WordPress admin and not know what to do with anything. Integration, let's check that out. That is, I don't even know, integrating with MaxMind, whatever the heck that is. I guess you could look that up. And then let's see what's under advanced. Okay, now this is interesting that we have not yet set up a cart page, a checkout page, my account page. Right now you can see select page for all of those. There's some checkout endpoints, but at some point, each of these pages will be necessary. So go back up to like where it says cart page, and when it says select a page, so right now you don't have anything that would want to be a cart page. I think there's a way in WooCommerce to just automatically generate these cart pages and checkout pages, but we can also just create them in Divi and then assign them here. This gives us a nice kind of global area that's showing us where all of these kind of end nodes are connecting to. So the main place you'd want to start is start by either setting up a PayPal account if you don't already have one, or a Stripe account. Either one is easy enough to use. And then you can start filling out the settings. Now let me show you, let's go back into the settings and go to payments. So you're already in there. And if you were to choose PayPal, all you have to do is just turn that on. right now. Turn that on, then hit Save Changes. And you ultimately just turned on your payment gateway. So, okay, you can click on Manage, go there to the right. And this will take you to now, all of a sudden, you have all your PayPal information. So you would enter in your PayPal email and all these different options for PayPal. This is one that comes with it. Now go back to your plugins page. Just click on plugins over on the left. I want to show you that if you choose something besides PayPal, PayPal, along with all that direct check stuff, is all that comes out of the box with WooCommerce. Click on Add New, please, up the top. But there are a lot of them that go with it. So for example, type in Stripe. If you're to choose a Stripe account, then you would have to add this plugin, the WooCommerce Stripe Payment Gateway. And if you were to install and activate that, which you don't have to right now, but if you decide you want to use Stripe, that's what you would do. What this will do is that will add Stripe to that list. So yeah, you can go ahead and check it out. You can install and then hit activate. And now go back to your WooCommerce settings. And now on the Payments tab. And now you can see that Stripe is now an option. And so is all this other crazy Stripe stuff. Like it looks like since I've used it, Stripe has evolved into having all kinds of stuff. SEPA Direct, Ban Contacts, all these things you probably don't have to deal with. What you would do in this situation is you would go up and you would disable PayPal because you wouldn't be using that anymore. And then you would enable Stripe, just the credit card, like that. And then you could click Save, and then that setup would go to Manage. And now all of a sudden you've got a screen just like the PayPal one. So click Manage next to Stripe, and this is where you would put in all your information that would in effect connect it to your account. So somewhere in your Stripe account, you would create these keys and stuff, this webhook secret, all this stuff you would get created through your user account on Stripe. And then when you plug in all the stuff here, then all of a sudden it will magically be connected. And what will happen is when you get to your checkout page and you're actually in your shopping cart and people are buying your products, this plugin will automatically give functionality for them to put in their credit cards and then send you money. And it's really awesome when it's set up right. So WooCommerce is the first main piece for e-commerce, as that's just by far the biggest e-commerce engine used on the internet. And it's certainly the most used one within WordPress. And then there's quite a bit that comes out of the box, but the next one would be determining your payment gateway, PayPal, Stripe, or something else that you'd have to connect. Something has to connect to your bank account somehow that's separate from your WordPress website. And then you'll set that all up, and ultimately from there, it's just kind of learning how to set things up and get going. There are tons and tons and tons of, let's one more time go to plugins and click on Add New. There are tons and tons of plugins that go with WooCommerce. So type in WooCommerce there. It's all one word. Let's see what comes up. So besides WooCommerce itself, Facebook for WooCommerce, WooCommerce PDF invoices and packing slips. There's the Stripe gateway. Now this is probably listed in the most popular, the most used. All right, there's the German version. And then there's MailChimp, which is like a email marketing system, and product feed. There's all there's probably thousands, if at least hundreds of different plugins that go along with it. So you can get very, very deep with it. One thing you could always check out is remember that I told you about the Elegant Themes blog. Let's check that out real quick. Could you please go to elegantthemes.com/blog? This is a resource that I will keep coming back to because it is so powerful and there's so much good stuff in here. I'm just going to /blog afterwards. And then you are able to search. So search our blog, type in WooCommerce. Let's see what comes up here. Sure, there's probably pages and pages of stuff. But all right, so a membership site, best WooCommerce themes, how much is WooCommerce, the real costs, and other plugins that go along with it. There's just a lot of stuff that if you're doing an e-commerce site, might be worth your while spending an hour or two kind of seeing what's there and seeing what some of these articles are talking about. A lot of it might be, more than you necessarily need to deal with, but it's good to have in your mind those options. That's something I talk a lot about with clients. They'll have a certain budget, and I can tell them, well, if you want to pay more, we can go down this road. There's these other options, but right now you're in the simple option budget, and it's always good to kind of know what's out there. So lots of stuff going on here. And then the last thing I'd like to show is I want to show you that Divi is actually one of the themes that integrates with WooCommerce, which is really, really cool. So let's go back up and let's see what all these warnings are. All right, so Stripe is almost ready. So it's telling us to set up our Stripe account keys. Great. A couple of Stripe things. I'm not sure what that desk debug thing is. Anyway, all right, so I guess Stripe wants us to set things up. No big deal. Click on the word WooCommerce over there on the left. Let's go to the very first. Let's see what that home takes us to. Okay, so WooCommerce does have a setup thing that you should go through. This is where it's going to set up. It'll take you through the settings, add your first product, but ultimately it's probably going to help you set up those initial pages that you need. So you could maybe spend a little time going through that. But what I really want to show you is go into pages and just create a new page. Just click add new up at the top. And then edit with Divi. Once it asks you, use Divi Builder. And then you can just start from scratch once it finally asks you. And now go ahead and add a row, add some columns there, and then click, and all right, so the module already comes up. Now scroll down, you can see that there are more modules now. You now have, go to the very bottom, you have Woo modules, a bunch of them. Woo additional info, cart notice, breadcrumb, description, Woo images, Woo meta, Woo price, Woo related product. So ultimately what you can do is you can actually create kind of, WooCommerce comes with a lot of these dynamic widgets that will show, like rating, for example. You could add ratings to one of your product pages, and you'll need a product page, you'll need cart pages, you've got your shop page, which once you start making, there's certain pages that are already built out. But then there's a bunch of other little elements that if you wanted to build your own customer experience, you can actually use Divi to build your own pages and use a lot of this kind of dynamic information. So that's really cool to see that there's certain plugins, and WooCommerce is one of them, that will actually add to the things that you can use inside of Divi, which is really, really cool.